Thank you so much for that introduction, Becca. I apologize, I was having trouble with the mute. I'm super excited to be here. I'm super excited that this won't be the last meeting, right? Even though we kind of already prepared for that, but regardless, I just kind of wanted to give you a presentation. Yes, it will have information about advocacy, but I also kind of, not knowing exactly who may have been at the last presentation that I provided, which, as Becca mentioned, was a few years back. So I just kind of wanted to take it back to the elementaries, talk about ICER, talk about the programs that are various resources throughout the state of Illinois, talk about our platform for 2022, and talk about the FSN as well. So please feel free to ask any questions along the way. I really enjoy that a lot because it really gives me, one, the sense that y'all are listening, right? But then two, also that, kind of gears us into like, what should I spend more time on that is important for you all, right? And the only way that I know that is if you ask questions or if you, ask for comments or concerns, anything like that. So the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights, this is our mission. We are dedicated to promoting the rights of immigrants and refugees to full and equal participation in civic, cultural, social and political life of our diverse society. And we do this in various ways through our members who are part of our coalition. Currently, we are about 120 organizations statewide strong. And with our partners, we make sure that we do a couple of things, right? We educate, we organize immigrant and refugee communities. I can tell you that right now, we're definitely spearheading a lot of support, case support for Afghan arrivals that have been coming since last year, and that will be coming, into this year as well, and making sure that they know what their rights are, making sure they understand that they have the right to have various support here from the state of Illinois, including support from our current fund, the Immigrant Family Support Fund as well, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And we also promote citizenship. We'll also talk about New Americans Initiative, which is kind of the vehicle that helps us promote citizenship, civic participation. We advocate on immigrant-related issues. That's also going to be a little bit about what we do in Springfield. And then we inform the general public about contributions to immigrants and refugees, such as these presentations, right? Making sure that every community is up to date, has the latest information, and just knows that if you, live in Southern Carbondale, let us know what's going on. We'll see what is, what's near, who can be connected. I think Becca and everyone at the Southern Illinois Immigrant Project is really great at just stepping up and just being that support. And I think with the Freedom All campaign, y'all have just done such a marvelous, marvelous job. So just kind of give an example as for each one of these and how we carry on our mission. Next. And so I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of background, right, in terms of who are we, right? Because sometimes people, they're like, oh, well, how old is it? Is it new? And so I just wanted to include that we actually started in 1986. And we have since really proven that we are a nation leader when it comes to immigrant and refugee policy. We were one of the first states to get a TVDL, which is a temporary visitor's driver's license. Just to give you the idea of a timeline, New Jersey was actually fighting for a similar driver's license for undocumented population just about 2 years ago during the pandemic. And we've had this since 2011. So just to give you kind of an idea in terms of spearheading a lot of these policies. Originally, we were named the Chicago Committee on Immigrant Protection. And then it went through a change to make sure that it included refugees as well. And then it called itself the Chicago Coalition on Immigrant and Refugee Protection. And then it had one more change, and that was the final change that got into the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights. And currently we are the largest multi-ethnic immigrant advocacy and advocacy organization, with 130 affiliate organizations and allies representing immigrant groups that speak 59 different languages. And some folks say, wow, 59. I'm like, yeah, Latinos are not the only immigrants. And that's something that we always like to say and keep in mind, because it's like, no, immigrants are from everywhere in the world, right? And then just to start off, so just to give a little bit of background, on the state level, there is a line item in the state budget called the Immigrant Services Line Item, ISLE for short. And so the state funds this line item, ISLE, and then ISLE funds programs at the state level. One of these programs is the Immigrant Family Resource Program. This program works statewide with a network of 35 different ethnic community-based organizations, and it operates in 59 different languages. And its purpose is to provide equal access to health and safety net services for immigrants and refugees. I hope this isn't the first time you hear this, but a lot of the state offices, the FCRC offices where someone would go to apply for a safety net benefits such as SNAP, such as WIC, they go and most often than not, in their organization, they think that Spanish is the only language that immigrants speak. And so they only have one person who speaks Spanish, and she might only be part-time. And then everyone else who is an officer there only speaks English. And we know, as I mentioned before, that Spanish speaking is not synonym to immigrants or refugees. And so we noticed that that was a really huge gap, right? Like our community needed that support in its own language to be able to sign up, to be able to find out if they're eligible, and then be able to sign up for these safety net services. So IFRP, that's their purpose, right? That is the purpose, to connect and to kind of reach over the barrier of language accessibility to safety net services that exist here in the state of Illinois that many immigrants and refugees are eligible for. During 2020, as many of you probably know, right, we are all still in I was gonna say panorama, I'm so sorry, sometimes the language in a pandemic, right? But during 2020, IFRP, since it is, for safety net services, began a fund to support various families who were left out of receiving a stimulus check. As you may know, while the government was providing these checks to a lot of folks, mixed status families, undocumented families, and other families that maybe didn't fill out their taxes also lost out. And as we know, that is, homes that have kids. These were whole families that were really struggling during 2020. And because we knew that this was going to happen, we asked the state, hey, like a lot of our communities and families are going to be left out. We need to step it up as the state of Illinois, right? And so the state of Illinois said, all right, these are funds. What are you going to do? We began the fund called the Immigrant Family Support Project, which thus far has providing 14,000 families with financial support. And a lot of these families have gotten from either $1,000 to $3,000 in support. And it really is just an open fund, meaning they don't have to tell us exactly what the money is for. They just have to prove that they didn't get a stimulus check and that, they can let us know this is going for rent, this is going for this. But overall, it's just a gift card that is provided to them, and they figure out how they use those funds, right? And I think in terms of a lot of financial support that came during 2020, it was one of the funds that was least, just to give an example, like the city of Chicago provided rent support, but it didn't actually give it to the families directly, it gave it to the landlords directly, right? And so this fund was different in the fact that we saw how other funds were operating, where like our families need more leniency. They need to be able to take these funds and really do what is needed in order to support their families. So this is why the IFSP fund is very kind of broad. And as long as you didn't get a stimulus check, you are eligible. Right now, we currently still do have that fund open. And I would say if you know folks in Southern Illinois that need the support, they can definitely check it out at icirr.org/IFRP or COVID-ILL, icirr.org/COVID-ILL. All lowercase, and they will see a sign up, kind of like a sign up sheet. There is a wait list, but as long as you put your information on that sheet, our fund team will be able to reach out to them directly and continue their application process. I will say it is taking a little bit of time in order to get these funds, just because they are state funds. And if y'all know anything about bureaucracies, it takes a little bit, right? But just wanted to put that out there regardless. Next. Similar to the IFRP, we have the NAI, the New Americans Initiative, which is also funded through ISLE, the Immigrant Services line item. Now, the New Americans Initiative focuses on two specific legal supports. It is still in partnership with the Illinois Department of Human Services, and it is to coordinate organizations to help support with the application, legal review, referral, citizenship, and English classes. And I mentioned this in a way that basically means that the organizations that carry NAI, they, yes, can support with a citizenship application, but they can also support with English classes, because we also know that on the road to citizenship, there's so many different things that must be, you know, pinpointed, such as the test of English that they have to go through. They also have to have a test of what is it called? I don't know why I'm spacing out, but
civics.
The civics test. Yes, thank you so much. I'm like, why is it not coming to me? So yes, so they have to make sure that they, you know, pass the English test, and they also are able to waive out, and an NAI partner will be able to assess that and tell someone, oh, you know, you actually qualify to take this in Spanish. If not, let's support you in English classes. And then it's also civics courses, right, to make sure that they also pass that test. And I think one thing that I would like to share about the organizations that have NAI, they go above and beyond always. Like, we've heard where coordinators, you know, they're not necessarily paid to do this. It's not in the grant. It's not part of what is needed, but they will go with their client all the way to USCIS downtown and Ida B. Wells, and, you know, be there for their interview and just like provide that support and letting them know, you got this, I helped you with this, I'm here, all the way to the end. And again, it's those amazing stories that we know that the organizations that have NAI, they do it because they know that the community needs it. And at this point, I think the community has understood that NAI as a program is very supportive, is there for folks. And currently 50 organizations are funded through the NAI, and they have assisted over 100,000 immigrants become US citizens. And in the past just 4 years, they've assisted 7,000 youth to renew their DACA. So the other thing I wanted to quickly add is that while the New Americans Initiative focuses on citizenship, the second form of legal support that it provides is specifically to DACA holders. And as you may know, currently right now, DACA does not accept new applications, but it is still open for renewals. Currently, we actually do have an amazing scholarship for DACA assistance renewals. As you all know, it's $495. I'm actually also a DACA recipient right now. And let me tell you, for $195 every 2 years, it's not easy. As much as you want to plan for it, rent is going high, salmon is going high. And I know it's a little bit of a joke, but it's kind of true, right? Like, and so we know that this is needed, right? And so this year it's been the first year that we've had this scholarship. And I would highly urge you folks, if you know anyone who's DACA, who are seeking to renew or are going to renew in the next like 5 months, definitely tell them to check it out. They can check out our website, ici.org.nai. They have a complete list of NAI organizations. They can tap into those and they can find out all of the NAI organizations have the scholarship. So as long as you go to an NAI organization, you hit them up, call them and say, hey, I want to apply for this. I want to reapply. I heard there's a scholarship. They would be able to help you and provide the full assistance of $495. I'm sorry, did someone want to say something? No? Okay. And so those two are predominantly, as I mentioned, ISLE funded, means state funded. And then we have the Democracy Project. The Democracy Project comes every election year. It basically engages new citizens. It focuses on registering folks to vote. And in its long run, it has currently registered more than 200,000 new immigrant voters and has involved thousands of community volunteers in our democratic process. Basically, these are cohorts of folks, community-oriented leaders, youth, who at each election year, it's a cohort that is taken on. And then all of these leaders are then placed throughout the state of Illinois with our partner organizations. And then they will drive folks to vote. They will drive folks to know that, hey, this is an election year. You need to register to vote if you're eligible, and you just show up to the polls if you can. Was someone gonna say something? No. Okay, just wanted to make sure. So check up on our website if you do have any youth that might be interested. It will be opening up probably around the beginning of summer, end of spring, if you have anyone interested. And then lastly, I just wanted to go over our Everybody in State Platform 2022. Last year, I think, was a great year for us. We passed the landmark Illinois Way Forward, which gave birth to the Free Them All campaign. Because with the Illinois Way Forward, it basically said, you know, here in the state of Illinois, we are a welcoming city. We will not allow ICE to do any business in here, including having detention facilities here in the state of Illinois. Slowly but surely, the first, as you all know, the first detention center that closed was Kankakee. And Becca and everyone else was super helpful. The folks at ICDI, the folks at NIJC were super helpful to support these folks and making sure that either if they're transferred, they get support that is needed, or if they are released, that they are connected, provided services that they can make sure that they are connected with family members or any other support that is coming, that is needed once they are out of detention. And also during the past year, we also were able to dramatically increase funding for immigrant services through the immigrant services line item. And this kind of gave birth to the direct services, the direct cash assistance, the IFSP, the Immigrant Family Support Project. And this project came to be, again, because we were able to increase the funding that went towards ISLE at the state level. And again, we were able to make the case, hey, a lot of these families need the support and they were left out. So the state of Illinois was able to increase that funding to create this specific project. But we also do know that a lot of other states are a little bit behind. And some states such as Indiana, which is right next door, are actually super behind, right? They don't have the same infrastructure as we may have, where there's networks, there's organizations, there's small groups such as y'all. And it just, we also know that we cannot be the only state in the Midwest to hold it down. And so we also are looking to what does the next year look like, and the next year after that, right? Does that mean that we begin to maybe even train other states, provide that type of support if they need it? Just because sometimes if you don't know how to do it, sometimes you don't ask in terms of like, I need help, but it's a matter of us actually reaching out and saying, hey, I wonder if you can do this. They might be folks that are in detention in your specific state. Let us show you how it's done. Let us show you how you can support, right? And so for 2020, we really aim to build on our state level victories and lay groundwork for further transformational policy. And some of this policy that we are going to be focused on includes the immigrant services line item and cash assistance, meaning we want to make sure that we have the same funding that we got from the state the last year and the previous year as well, to make sure that we keep up with what is needed in our communities. I think, as you all know, the mandates for masks are coming off at the end of this month, but we still know that our communities still are not 100% back, right? Many folks, you know, what is called as the Great Resignation, many folks quit their jobs, many folks started new projects, new businesses, and they still need support as they begin to see the effects of a pandemic that has already expanded 3 years now, right? Or 2 years, 3 years, something like that. And so this is why we still continue advocating for ISLE to be funded, as well as the Cash Assistance Immigrant Family Support Project. And then additionally, we also see the Earned Income Tax Credit expansion. This Earned Income Tax Credit expansion basically wants to make sure that more working adults who pay taxes, and that includes folks from 18 to 24 and folks 65 and up, get these tax credits, because currently it's harder for them, or they get less tax credit, which is honestly not helpful for them when it comes to tax season, right? We also want to create a new statewide child tax credit, which would be $600 minimum for parents or legal guardians of a child under 17 who are eligible for their Earned Income Tax Credit. And I think we definitely saw this on a federal level, right? And so we wondered, why wouldn't this also happen on a state level, right? And it also has other increases of amounts of credit for other recipients as well. We see it as kind of the next support when it comes to financial security, financial equity within our community as well. And expanding healthcare coverage. Just a year or two ago, healthcare coverage Medicaid was expanded to include folks who are 65 and older and are also undocumented. But the other thing I would like to just mention, right, because And I forgot to mention my role at ICER, but I overlook the 24-hour Family Support Network hotline. And I can tell you on our hotline, we get a lot of calls where it comes to undocumented folks who need long-term care, long-term assistance, and either don't have anyone, loved ones here in the state, and don't have any financial support to actually put themselves in a home either. So we're looking at healthcare coverage expansion as a way to making sure that these folks are not left out and that they're also included when it comes to healthcare coverage as well. And then the last one that we're really focusing on is the Immigrant Legal Assistance Task Force. As you may know, I think through the state of Illinois, there are a few different programs such as NAI, again, who focuses on legal, but specific to citizenship and DACA. But there is also another one, which is Access to Justice. Access to Justice focuses a little bit more on deportation defense as well as asylum. But the thing that we see in terms of the future is that everyone should be able to have legal assistance regardless of what specific case they have, right? I think it exists already in the civic sector, right? You get a public attorney, right? You get to talk to them and then they help you on your case, but that does not translate into immigration law. And so that is what we're thinking is the next step. And I think beginning this task force to really assess how the state of Illinois is supporting when it comes to lawyers, to legal services, is gonna also inform us as to policy and what's next as well. Next slide. And you could definitely check out our platform at the link below. It's more expensive. I'm shortening it down to kind of the points that are important, but it is a 2-pager that y'all can read extensively, and it goes through each point that I just mentioned. And then lastly, I just wanted to do a quick plug for the Family Support Network hotline. We are operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The hotline is staffed in English, Spanish, Polish, Arabic, and Korean. And the other thing I would say is that we do get a lot of calls, and if for whatever reason we haven't gotten back to you in a couple of the days, just make sure to leave a voicemail, like really leave a voicemail while a call back, just because sometimes we get calls from hospitals, from different facilities, and there's no way for us to call them back because it's just like a general number. So I would very urge you all to, if you do call, it is on a voicemail basis. There is one option that I'll give you a live person, but that is in cases of emergency, in cases there is deportation or you're seeing ICE activity, live time, but all the other non-emergency related options, we will get back to you within a day or two. Just give us some time. As you all know, we try to carry out cases as much as we can in support. But yeah, that is my last plug. Please let me know if you have any questions. I hope you all like this presentation. This was actually very new. I just created it just because we are going into Springfield session. We're going into that. And it's going to be needed to make sure that we are aware of all the resources that exist that have come through advocacy, right? Because it's not that we're advocating just for these things and we don't see them. We also see the full picture, right? The advocacy that we do supports the resources, the programs that exist currently, and then we make sure that we also highlight the resources. So thank you all so much. Let me know if you have any questions. I will drop my information in the chat in case y'all have any follow-up questions or any future presentations, anything at all. Thank you all so much. And I'm super excited that this is not the last meeting.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. I really appreciate you sharing with us. And if anyone has questions, make sure you put them in chat or raise your hand. We'll make sure they get answered. I'd also like to invite next Dave with the National Immigrant Justice Center. I think I see you on here, Dave. If you'd like to share a little bit about another amazing advocacy group that also provides legal services here in Illinois.
Absolutely, and thank you, Becca, and thanks everyone for having me. It's great to see everyone here. My name is Dave Faherty, and I'm a supervising attorney at the National Immigrant Justice Center, which is based in Chicago. And I specifically work at NIJC's Detention Project. So at NIJC, we have a couple of different teams specializing in different areas of immigration law and serving like different types of immigration clients. And so I actually, my small team, we actually specialize in providing deportation defense to non-citizens who are in ICE detention. So yeah, I've worked with Becca like pretty closely over the past few months and years at this point. And as Evelyn mentioned, the Illinois Way Forward Act has had a pretty huge impact, both to Southern Illinois and to Illinois generally. Starting with the Pulaski Detention Center, abruptly canceling their ICE contract before the Illinois Way Forward Act went into effect. With them transferring their ICE detainees out of there at the end of last summer to just a few weeks ago, the two remaining ICE detention centers in Illinois also completely winding down their ICE detention. That's just one aspect of what we do at NIJC, but that's something that I work with personally. But let me just tell you just a little bit about us, just for those who aren't familiar with us. We are based in Chicago, and really we strive to provide direct legal services to non-citizens in the Midwest. And we really try to advocate for non-citizen populations through policy reform, impact litigation, and public education. But our direct services, it's pretty broad. Like in addition to representing detained clients, we also represent individuals who are applying for asylum and fear-based relief, and also individuals applying for other forms of immigration relief, like DACA, like U visas, and other things like that. We work with a lot of partners like ICER, like with Evelyn and other organizations, and we also have different grants that help fund our work. And one of those grants is the Access to Justice grant, which allows us to provide direct legal services to Illinois residents. And so I'll just say that, being based in Chicago, I think we're pretty well known in the Chicago community. We always like to try to get the word out that we're there for non-citizens to come seek our services. But definitely, in other parts of the state, we may not be as well known, but people can still, call in and do consultations with us. The Immigration Project is another organization that serves, other parts of Illinois, which is great. And we really want to try to expand as much, all of the organizations here. We want to expand out from just the large cities and get people who are in different parts of the state who may not know about us. But I will just plug that for Illinois residents, they can call and do free consultations with us to do the initial consultation. And if they say that they are Illinois residents, then it'll be free. And that's part of the grant funding that we get for that. And all of our, if we can accept clients, all of the representation is for free as well. As a nonprofit, those are the services that we provide. So yeah, I think that's basically it for me. Unless there are any other questions, feel free to put questions in the chat, or I can put my email address in the chat as well. But I just want to say, I think it's really great, all that you do. It's been, I've worked with Becca, very closely. As I said, I've also worked with Professor Cindy Buys at SIU, which I believe you might know, and she may even be on the call. I'm not sure if I see her, but anyway, we've also worked.
She wasn't able to come tonight.
Okay, yeah. With Cindy, we used to do Know Your Rights presentations through the law school. Through her students at the law school, they would actually go to Pulaski when it still had the ICE contract and go in and do the Know Your Rights presentations and do intakes with individuals, which was hugely helpful to us because the distance between Pulaski and Chicago, it's difficult for us to get there in person. So that was hugely beneficial. I will just say too, on the detention front, the last thing I will say is, while ICE detention is thankfully, done, it's finished in Illinois, the fight to get individuals released and to end immigration detention, it continues. And, we still have states like Indiana and Missouri and Kentucky and Tennessee, which still house non-citizens in this civil immigration detention. And so, so our efforts at getting them released still continue. So thank you, Becca, and everyone.
No, thank you so much, Dave. Really appreciate it. I also just want to echo what Dave said. I know, a lot of folks got transferred to Indiana, so I know you might see some action alerts still following up, still fighting for their freedom. And I do want to mention, I think many people are familiar with them, but if you have a heart for supporting people who are in immigration detention, you can do visitation remotely through the Interfaith Community for Detained Immigrants. You can also help support people with commissary funds. And then also people need help with their bonds often. So the Midwest Immigrant Bond Fund, I have a call later tonight with someone who's looking for help with his bonds. So it's an ongoing need. And I'll put those organizations in the chat if folks are interested in knowing about them. But continuing with legal services, we're also really honored to have Sarah from the Immigration Project to share with us about an organization that has just had such a huge impact in providing legal services for downstate Illinois.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Mellor. I'm the Social Services Director at Immigration Project. I am also so happy to hear that CERP is not going to end after today, because you guys have been such a valuable, wonderful partners for many years for Immigration Project. So I thank you so much for that. I don't know, do I tell Becca to click or do I click myself? I don't know. Okay, anyway, so we're Immigration Project. We serve 86 counties in downstate Illinois. So essentially just not Chicagoland. If you're familiar with I-80, that terrible traffic highway that you might hit as you're traveling north, we serve everywhere south of I-80. So CERP definitely falls within our service area. And we have two main offices, which are in Normal and Champaign, Illinois. So our partnership with CERP over the years has been really valuable because we don't have an office in Southern Illinois, but we've been really fortunate to Cindy Bias, who was mentioned earlier but isn't able to be on the call today, is on our board. And so we've been able to use some services at SIU and through Catholic Charities and stuff, and through you guys at CERP to reach Southern Illinois immigrants and bring them into for our legal and social services. So yeah, we have a legal team right now. We're actually hiring multiple attorney positions, but we currently have 3 attorneys and 2 Department of Justice accredited representatives providing legal services. And we're hosting regular immigration legal service clinics in Bloomington, Champaign, Kankakee. We haven't had our Carbondale clinic since COVID, but we would like to restart that hopefully soon. And you have our mission statement there also. So as the social services director, I still know about our legal services, but of course social services is kind of more my jam. But we do offer a wide range of immigration legal services. So currently we are, through the New Americans Initiative, offering I-90 green card renewals. We can help people renew their DACA. We have the Citizenship Workshops also through NAI. So that was awesome that ICER is actually on this call. Thanks, Evelyn. Through their funding, we've been able to help people with those programs. Also, Access to Justice was mentioned. So similar to NIJC, we receive money from the Access to Justice grant budget line item. And with that, we do green cards for family-based immigration, and then also humanitarian immigration, which includes like asylum, U visas, etc. There's more on the next slide. Oh, here's just a picture from one of our citizenship and naturalization workshops through the New American Initiative. So if you're interested, I know SERP is still going to continue, but if you're interested in getting involved with Immigration Project, our citizenship workshops, both virtual and when hopefully the world goes back to normal and we're back in person more, they're really volunteer intensive. We need lots of volunteer help to make those happen. We leverage those volunteers so that what might take an attorney a day to do one citizenship filing by themselves, with the help of volunteers, sometimes they can do 4 or 5 in just one single workshop. So it really increases our capacity and our ability to help more people. So it's something, normally, because of the way citizenship is, you don't need to speak Spanish or any other language in order to help someone who's applying for citizenship. So it's a great opportunity if you aren't multilingual to get involved. This is just a chart that shows how most people get a green card. So 64.8% of people who become lawful permanent residents is through family. So that being said, a big part of what we do through that Access to Justice grant that was mentioned earlier are family-based immigration petitions. So the immediate family of someone, which means a spouse, parent, son, daughter, or brother, sister of a US citizen, or spouse, parent, son, or daughter of a lawful permanent resident, can bring their family members here, or if their family members are already living here, they can adjust their status so that they can have legal status here in the United States. So that is something that we also do, and we also utilize volunteers in doing things like that. However, in many cases, access language is a barrier. So we always are seeking multilingual volunteers to help with those programs and to serve as interpreters and translators. Some languages are like especially hard to find. Like this week, I've been hunting and searching for a Tagalog interpreter. Still looking, but depending. If you speak a rare language, we would definitely love to add you to our list, or if you know anyone that does. Okay, so we also, besides our standard family-based petitions and then our New Americans programs, we have a new program this year, which is through the Office of Refugee Resettlement. And it's a program in which we represent unaccompanied minors. So those could be people who maybe do have family here, but arrived by themselves and therefore ended up in this children's detention facility. There's one in Champaign, Illinois that we've been working closely with, but we represent unaccompanied minors in the entire state, in our entire 86 county service area. Through that, we also do applications for special immigrant juvenile status, which is for immigrant children who arrive by themselves who have been abandoned, abused, or neglected by one or both parents. Some of them, the children that we've been working with, we're doing applications for a T visa for them because they're victims of human trafficking. And there's also the option for asylum for some of those kids and cancellation of removal. So we've been working that is the only population that is in deportation removal proceedings. I mean, that we're actually working with that right now is children. We're working with the Pritzker Foundation to try to get funds to represent adults that are in removal proceedings. But at this time, we're not doing that. So it's only available to children who are in removal. We also serve, so throughout our 25-year history as a legal aid organization for immigrants, we've kind of discovered that there's a huge need for other services. So kind of like Evelyn from ICER was talking about earlier, the pandemic affected people across the board. So immigrant populations were especially hard hit. In addition, just always when someone is arriving in a new country, they might need help finding housing or resources in their community. We also have a high incidence of people that come to us as clients are often survivors of domestic violence and trauma, just because if they're asylum seekers, they experience trauma in their country. If they're applying for a U visa, that means they were a victim of violence here in the United States. So as we're serving these people with their immigration legal needs, we discovered that there was a need for more holistic services and a broader range of social services. So just within the past couple of years, Immigration Project has expanded to offer quite a few different social services. So we do have a community navigators program that's through Access to Justice, which is kind of social services. It takes both legal and other educational information out into the community. So Evelyn had mentioned, like, we're a state that has TVDL driver's licenses. So making people aware of that option and how do they get one of these, and our community navigators can help people apply for that or obtain copies of their court records, or anything that really requires like boots on the ground help, either because of language access or just not knowing how services work here in the US. And Becca's been through our training, maybe some other people on the call have too. Our community navigators program provides training to the navigator volunteers who participate about unauthorized practice of law, the basics of the immigration system, and just kind of prepares them for what they need to know to be a volunteer serving the immigrant community. Thanks for the plug, Becca. So I kind of already went over that we provide family-based immigration. We also provide humanitarian immigration services, not just to children, but asylum, temporary protected status. VAWA stands for Violence Against Women Act. It allows people to get immigration status without their abusive spouse. So it kind of prevents the spouses from using immigration as a tool, the abuser from using immigration as a power play against the victim. I saw a question in the chat. You do not need to be multilingual to be a volunteer, especially if you want to help with like our citizenship program or something. I just like to sing. A foreign accent is a sign of bravery. So I think I have, a few more slides here about social services. We operate something called the Welcoming Center. If you remember, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Welcome Wagon. It actually used to be a wagon. It was kind of a little commercial, more commercial than what we do, but essentially when a new family came to a community, this wagon would go to their house with a box full of information about the local businesses and the resources and the places to go, the commerce in the community. So that's what kind of our Welcome Center tries to be. When somebody arrives, we try to get them connected with a bunch of different resources in the area. So our Welcome Center is located in McLean County and primarily serves McLean County, but Immigration Project also offers services in the Southern Illinois area, referring people to mental health. We can help provide translation and interpretation if someone is having trouble connecting with a community resource. We do have kind of a long list, and we're always trying to gather more languages, more people who speak multiple languages. We have a program called court-based rental assistance that we're affiliated with through Illinois Housing Development Authority. If anyone is in eviction proceedings, then we can actually help them stop their eviction, help get their entire balance of their past due rent paid to their landlord so that they can stay in their home. So far, since the eviction moratorium ended, we've actually prevented 20 evictions that were already in process. So 20 immigrant families got to stay in their house instead of being evicted. So that's a really awesome program. It requires a lot of helping people communicate with their landlords, advocating for the immigrant family to have a written lease, making sure that people either can go to court safely or can go to court by Zoom, which requires some things, making sure that people have interpretation services in court, which requires like filing some paperwork. So anyway, our court-based rental assistance program is excellent if you have any community members who need that, who are in eviction proceedings. That's something that we offer. We also have referrals to different utility assistance throughout the state. And we offer those immigrant family support program cards. We're one of the agencies working with ICER. I believe we've done 1,300 applications so far for new people this round. So we would be happy to, oops, I already talked about court-based. I'm ahead of my slides, but we would be happy to help people apply for those cards and process those applications and get them to ICER for you. So that's my my email. If you're interested in getting involved, helping us on either the legal team or the social services team, whether you're bilingual or not, we would love to have you. So please reach out.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And I put your email in the chat in case anyone missed that. So thank you. Definitely get in touch with them, whether you know someone who needs services or you'd like to volunteer. I know they have some opportunities where like they just need someone for a workshop every other month or every couple months or something. So like you can probably find something that'll fit in with what your interests are. So I do also want to make sure we get to highlight some local organizations. So I would like to ask Miguel with the Migrant Council in Cobden to share a little bit about the work that they do.
Hi, hello everyone. Well, my name is Miguel Sarmiento. I am working for the Illinois Migrant Council. This is a statewide nonprofit organization working obviously in all the states. And we, in my case, I am located in the Cobden office. From this point, we are offering a lot of supported services for basically for the Hispanic community. Our focus is the Hispanic community, but we are open to many other nationalities in case they are in need as well, okay? So we usually provide assistance in areas like rental assistance, income assistance, food, educational services. We also organize vaccination clinics, health screening clinics as well. So we provide many services who help the people in many areas here. In this office, on this location here in Cobden, the community have the opportunity to come here to receive assistance in person. They can use, we have a computer lab, so they can use computers here. They have access to the internet. We assist them with some formalities like, for example, employment authorizations renewals, green card renewals. We provide assistance to get the citizenship. We also have a after school service here, so the kids in this town can come here to receive teacher assistant to complete their homework, you know. So we are open to all the community, independent or regardless the immigration status. And our intention is to help to everybody who has any kind of need.
Thank you so much, Miguel, for making time to talk with us today. They do amazing work in Cobden, and I know we've gotten to partner on some things over the years. So we really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us and share a little bit more. And like I said, we'll be sharing a link so you can keep in touch with all of these organizations. So next up, I think on our list, I wanted to share some information. Karla is here with us, and she works with Shawnee Health Service with the Farm Worker Health Programs. So let me share. She has some information, some slides for us. And then Karla, if you'd like to share about your program.
Hello, everyone. Becca introduced me. I am with Shawnee Health Service, and I am the head of the Farm Worker Health Program. Since 2009, I've been serving this population for 13 years now, and it's really been so rewarding all these years that I have the opportunity to serve this underserved, vulnerable population. And we have a lot of agencies here that serve the immigrant population, and of course, these farm worker, agricultural workers. Within that community, we have a large number of immigrants. And one of those are, for example, the migrants and the seasonal workers. So I'm going to go over that in a minute. So I want to share a little bit about our history. Shawnee Health Service began operations in 1971. Actually, we celebrated our 50th anniversary last year. Well, we are going to celebrate now that things are a little bit better. But yeah, we're 50 years serving the communities, underserved and communities in need, to foster mainly the development of health and social services and targeting low income and underserved communities. And within those underserved communities, of course, we have the agricultural workers. And our farm worker program was established in 1973 through federal funding. And the ones that are, the agencies that are funded federally, you know how many guidelines, that requirements that we have to follow, and different rulings and protocols that we have to abide by, otherwise we lose the grant. So our program is mainly targeted to seasonal and migrant farm workers. These workers annually reside here in Union and Jackson County, but we also, whenever we find a new orchard or a farm in Southern Illinois, of course, we try to build a relationship with the owners and we reach out to those workers. Currently, the program, because there is a lot of misunderstandings about, okay, where is the farm worker program? Do you have your own building, or where are you? And so basically, the farm worker program is housed in one of our health centers of Shawnee, and we are located in Murfreesboro, behind the ones who are familiar with Murfreesboro, Jackson County. We are located behind the St. Joseph Memorial Hospital. Of course, we have over 13 clinics, and farm workers who choose to come here for medical and social services, they can, they have the option to go to any clinic. We have in Williamson County, Jackson County, Williamson, Jackson County, and but they choose to come here because they know we have the team of outreach workers and interpreters. Next. I wanted to share a little bit of some pictures about my team and some of the activities that we do in outreach that we have been doing throughout the years. We are a very small team, but we serve in very large capacity. And this is some of the ladies of my team, and they are known as outreach workers / medical interpreters, since the farm worker community that come here to this area to work, they have, the need of language. They do not speak English or speak very limited English. They have the need of medical interpreters, and that's what my team does the majority of the time. Next. So as I said, we are federally funded, and these monies are allocated with Shawnee specifically to serve two types of farm workers. The migrant workers, who are the ones employed following the harvest from region to region or from their country to the US. And within this group, since all these years that I've been working with this community, I kind of divided this to this group into two. The national migrants, we call it, the ones that are traveling around the United States to follow the crops. We don't see that much anymore. When I started, I used to encounter some migrant workers from Texas or Florida, from other states that come here, because of their many occasions, their immigration status, now so tough immigration laws, you don't see national migrants moving around anymore. They choose to stay in one area now because of, the immigration laws. And of course, we have the H2A workers, and whoever is familiar with the H2A migrant workers, they come here for a specific period of time, but they are issued a social security number, they are issued a guest work visa, and for a specific period of time. And if you can go back to the migrant pictures, that's some examples of the migrant workers employed in Union County. Because I have to abide by HIPAA, I cannot disclose where they work, but they are in Union County. These are some of the pictures of our outreach activities a couple of years ago. We have another one. The next, please. There is another group here in Johnson County, actually, it's in Vienna, and they are employed by this farm owner, and some of them actually are from the Dominican Republic, but these groups are H2A workers. Next. The other groups that we have we serve through this funding are seasonal workers, and those are the workers that we usually see year-round. They do not move, they don't change residence, they stay in one location, and usually they are here established with their families, their children, so we serve everyone that comes to our program, and if they have dependents, they have spouses, partners, we serve everyone as farm workers with all the same services and benefits of the program, not just the worker. Next. Here an example of a group of ladies that are employed in Union County. They are seasonal farm workers. They work for this orchard owner, and in the packing shed, they packed all the produce. And those are usually, that's the trend that we see in some of the orchards. They use the female workers to work in the packing shed, and the male workers work the field. Here is a list of different services that we provide, and that's just my team. The four ladies that you saw in the picture. They know us mostly as interpreters, but we wear many, many hats. We, of course, because of the language need of our farm workers, we have to provide interpreter services. Face-to-face is only Spanish. Unfortunately, we don't have more in-person languages that we can provide, but we also contract with agencies who provide telephonic interpreter services. And through that service, we have over 200 languages available, including some indigenous languages from Guatemala, like Quiche and Mam as well. We also provide transportation. That is part of the program. We pick them up at the orchard at home and bring them to our clinics for services. And when they do not have a way to come here, we do some case management, health education, outreach services, and we have some evening clinics twice a week also, so they do not have to miss work when they want to see the doctor. Here is some things that I wanted to share. Health education is a very important piece of the program. We identify what are the health conditions that they bring when they come to this area, or the ones who live here. And then based on that, we prepare material, very visual, because many farm workers are illiterate, or they have low literacy, so everything has to be very visual. And in this case, we have this group of workers that we were doing sexual transmitted infections education. Next. A couple of years ago, we also decided to give some training in collaboration with the School of Medicine in cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR. We had an incident, unfortunately, a few years ago with a worker had a heat stroke, and everybody, they worked so distant to each other, and nobody noticed that he was wandering in the fields and ended up in a pond and drowned. So one worker found him. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to call 911, and he ended up in hospital in intensive care unit in a coma for a long time. So since then, we decided this community, they need to know some, CPR. And this is another group that we did the same class, and they were, here practicing the chest compressions. Next. So yeah, I just want to briefly present what we do. Of course, there's many other pieces that we have in the program, but next slide, you have my information. That is my email address and my office and personal number. If you ever, another thing that I didn't put on the slide, since we have large Hispanic community in this area, and we have the team here anyway, and when the season slows down, we serve the Hispanic community. They don't have to be farm workers. And we try as much as possible. Of course, we have to be very careful since this is a federally funded program targeted to farm workers. But when the season is low or we're available, our team, of course, will serve the Spanish community. But if we are not available, we always have a team of case managers. We have doctors, dentists, obstetric services, behavioral health services. And if we are not available to interpret or assist, they can use the telephonic services. We have a discount program that is part of the financial assistance, and that is not only for farm workers, it's for everyone. We are a federally qualified health center, so we are obligated to facilitate access to healthcare to the low-income families, and that includes everyone, immigrants, non-immigrants, farm workers, everyone. So if you ever learn of someone who resides in this area and they need a medical home, they need access to dental services, obstetric services, please send them my way. The number here that is, of course, for you guys, if you need to contact me, not to give out to patients, but the general number is 519-9200. That's the number for the organization. And they press 9 for Spanish, and they can call themselves, or you can give me the information and I can contact the person, the individual, and guide them and try to help with accessing resources. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you, Karla. Thank you so much for everything you do for the community and all the times you've helped connect folks for us through the years. So thank you for sharing. I'd like next to ask Jim to share with us a little bit about a local group who is working to welcome Afghan refugees here in Southern Illinois. So Jim, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you very much. This is my very first Zoom meeting, so if I fail this terribly, it's only because I have no idea what's really going on. Boy, what an impressive group of resources you people have put together. CAIRS is a Carbondale organization that stands for the Carbondale Area Interfaith Refugee Support. We started about 6 years ago. And at that time, we're bringing in Syrian refugees. And we did that for a while. And we did it in conjunction with the government agencies that had to bring refugees to within 50 miles of their major offices. And after their training period, they were able to move to wherever they wanted in the country. We were able to bring some families here. We had about a 4-year hiatus where not many refugees actually came to the country. So now, the refugee organizations actually laid off many of their people. And when we left Afghanistan, our agencies were unable to swallow this huge watermelon that has come through the snake. So the State Department has set up a a process called support circles. And we have actively, through our CAIRS group, moved into that program. We hope to bring 100 refugees to Carbondale. We hope to bring them in to live here the rest of their lives. We hope to house them. We hope to train them. We hope to support them. We hope to make them feel comfortable. The way the program works is each support circle has to have at least 5 sponsors. And we have to raise $2,275. I don't know how the government comes up with magic numbers like that, but $2,275 for every man, woman, and child that we bring here. And so far, a name you've heard a couple of times, Cindy Buys, with her church, has raised enough money to bring a family of 5 or 6. They have had their plan approved. They're identifying the family, and we expect that family to be here within 2 weeks. Our church has also filed, as of this morning, our plan, which we stole from Cindy, to also bring a family of 6 here. We have some little extra money in that. And I'm aware of at least 2 other local groups that are forming their circles now. To bring a family, to bring 100 plus people here to town will take at least 20 of those organizations. So we're clearly working on bringing more groups here into town. And besides raising some money, we are going to find housing for them. We have to furnish the housing. We have to provide drives to doctors, schools, grocery stores, clothing stores. And I can't imagine coming to this country, knowing no words, having clothes on your back. Some of you have dealt with that, but I haven't. I just have admiration for what people go through to become a part of the United States. So CAIRS only has a Facebook page. We're really not a true organization. We have no corporate filings or anything. You can find us there. If you'd like to know more about us, you can get a hold of me. And my email address is jimadooley@gmail.com. You can get a hold of Cindy. Many of you know her. You can get a hold of Becca. She's come to several of our meetings. And we are early in our involvement, but our involvement is a commitment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim, for sharing and for the work you're doing. We're very, very excited to be able to welcome families to the Carbondale area. So definitely reach out. They have a pretty active group if you're interested in supporting. Let's see, can I ask Karla from John A. to share with us a little bit about her work in the literacy program and particularly in the ESL services?
So I am Karla Tabing from John A. Logan College with the literacy program. I'm the director of the adult ed program actually, and literacy with it is under that. We're kind of in a lull right now between staff members. The staff member who had actually set up this informational meeting, Caitlin, went into labor a little early. So she is on maternity leave, and unfortunately she won't be coming back after she has the baby. But the adult ed program, the literacy program, is funded by the Secretary of State literacy program, and it is set up to recruit tutors to work with learners who are either reading or math skills below a 9th grade reading level or English as a second language. So we serve all of John A. Logan College District, and the tutors go through a 15-hour training, background check, that sort of thing, and then they are matched with learners. The learners can be, you know, in any town. We meet in all sorts of places, libraries, Barnes and Noble, some of our classrooms, that we have GED classes in. So we try very much to accommodate both the tutor and the learner schedule to provide tutoring. Our ESL is primarily in Carbondale. We have 4 or 5 learners right now. I hate to say it, but unfortunately our tutor population, you know, like everybody else is dealing with COVID, has certainly lowered. We're not even at half of the tutors that we typically have. So it's been a struggle. We always have more learners who need assistance than tutors. So I'm working to provide tutors to those students who are seeking a tutor. And it's been tough. I know everybody has kind of dealt with it. But that's the literacy program kind of in a nutshell. I'd be happy to answer any questions. But I did send in some information about the literacy program. I couldn't get the link to open up that come in the email, so I did just email it back to you earlier. So.
Thank you so much, Karla. We appreciate it. And is the training available online currently also? I think that was how it was done the last time I did it, just for anyone who's wanting to get set up volunteering.
We do training online and face-to-face, and obviously right now everything's online. So yeah. So if you know of anybody who would be interested in becoming a tutor, we would love to have them. Just contact me and I'll get the process started.
Thank you so much. So it can be kind of self-paced if you want to get yourself, you know, going with that to do your training. And I've done it in the past, and it's a whole lot of fun to get to connect with someone and kind of learn languages and learn about each other's cultures. And it's a great experience. So definitely get in touch if that's interesting. And, you know, these things all feed together, right? The language component can make people eligible to take their citizenship exam or to be able to advocate for their healthcare services. So a lot of these things are connected. All right. And I think Ms. Cristina Castillo, are you with us? Were you able to get connected?
I was able to get connected.
Yay!
Apologies. I was dealing with a parent, and I told them that I had a meeting, but it was just it was a conversation and it had to happen. So
yeah.
But,
well, you have perfect timing. If I can, I just want to introduce. I know many of you already know Cristina. She's with the Hispanic Latino Resource Center at SIU Carbondale. She also is involved in a lot of other ways in the community, and she has raised her hand to continue with the leadership of SIRPS. So I want to let her share a little bit about the work she does in, you know, her official professional life, and just share with you a little bit about, you know, some of her ideas of maybe a next step for us to continue some of our work and organization here. So Cristina, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Becca. First of all, I mean, a big thank you, and maybe at the reaction, little emoji, big claps for what Becca has done and what the big resources that she has gathered today. Mr. Dooley, you're absolutely right. She gathered this amazing group of people, and as I have been listening, it's I am amazed. I am amazed of everything that every one of you do, and the community involvement, the hope that you bring to a lot of people, and just bringing that sense of belonging for a lot of our the populations that we help and serve that may not have that security that many of us do. So that's a very important thing, and I admire every single one of you, and I kind of want to be like you, and I'm like, okay, taking names, what are the things that they do, how can we collaborate, and so it's going to be a big undertaking. Becca has done amazing, and all the board that have been along since the beginning of Southern Illinois Immigrant Rights Project. I came along when DACA was basically one of the, still is threatened, but when it was rescinded at the very beginning, when I had a lot of my students going through the uncertainty if they were going to be deported, what was going to happen, because behind every DACA student, we have undocumented parents. And that's something sometimes we forget, that they are feeling in limbo as well as their family. And many of our students, even though as they are US first generation US citizens, they have undocumented parents as well. So it is a big threat to our community. And so I was involved, I got involved, and I've always said from the beginning that Southern Illinois Immigrant Rights Project, it fits really, it is to be too good true. And it has been too good to be true. I have had the privilege and the opportunity to have their support, fully support with me, with the students, and have basically brought me along to be part of this journey. I am an immigrant myself, and but I have grown roots in Southern Illinois. When I moved to the United States many years ago, I won't tell you because otherwise you'll know my age. I didn't speak English. And my first job I didn't speak English. I couldn't drive a car because driver's license were not provided, or driving license exams were not provided in Spanish. And I started attending Johnny Logan basically to like a sink or swim. I did not have the learning English. I was taking reading skills and writing skills, but everything was in English. So I literally felt like I was sinking, or I had to sink or swim. And so from then I started, my first job was at the migrant camp in Cobden. And during the summer, I worked there under the fellowship house in Anna. So they had an office at the migrant camp, and I was part of one of the coordinators there that was helping, and I was in charge of women and children, just educational programming. And by then I had taken a class at Johnny, several classes at Johnny, and I was able to be part of that amazing experience. That was my first tied to the immigrant population here in Southern Illinois, but also the first knowledge of the peaches in Southern Illinois, which was one of the greatest things that is produced by the labor of our immigrants. So many years after I had children, then decided to finish my bachelor's, and then came to SIU. Did my master's in educational psychology with a concentration in school counseling. And from then on, it has been an amazing experience serving students overall, especially empowering and serving, encouraging Hispanic Latino students. I have been able to really help students fulfill their dreams. DACA students that have been able to graduate, but not because of me. I have had the financial support and the emotional support of Southern Illinois Immigrant Rights Project, of Diane Spear, of Ana Migone, of course, Becca at the very beginning, many other of the board members and the active membership. They were just doing something out of their heart and love and compassion to what was going on in this community and in this Southern Illinois and in the country and in many other countries that happen with immigrations and displaced people. So for me, coming to take the step to take over Southern Illinois Immigrant Rights Project is I just feel like they've done so much that I can, and I have been benefited directly, and my students directly, to just basically drop the ball. I have a lot of ideas. I have all of you to help me, hopefully to collaborate, to partner, to make a collaborative effort to really stay connected and build a bigger and larger community, to not only think about Cobden or Murfreesboro or Anna or Vienna or West Frankfort or Harrisburg in the context of places, but in the context of the opportunity to reach out to be a better and bigger community. During this past Martin Luther King breakfast we attended, and I invited several of my students to join that breakfast, because we also have, I work under the umbrella of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And in order for me to really walk the talk, I have to also be inclusive, but also include myself in other cultures and in other events, because that's important to me. And then it's the learning aspect as well. In order, I always say, if we don't learn from each other, then we're always going to be somehow a lack of understanding. And we went, and it was amazing to see the different collaborators of the Carbondale area and some further area coming together for this celebration. And I was speaking with my students, and I said, we need something like this for our community. We need to bring these people together. We need to bring different empowering people that are doing something for the community that we are basically not knowledgeable about. How do we bring all of us together? How do we empower each other? How we are altruistic with each other? And in what ways we can continue to build a better community, not just for Latinos, or that really not just for Latinos, but for everybody, to be welcoming with everybody, and to just simply reach out and do something good and meaningful to improve somebody else's life and existence. And so for me, taking these steps, believe me, I ruminated it for a while, since I knew that that it may be not the end of it, but perhaps the stagnation of it. And I first shared with Becca, and then I kept going back and forth, because I'm also very busy. I also have a lot of responsibilities with the students. I have a lot of involvement within the university. Sometimes I stretch myself too thin, right? And I always said that my plate is full, but if everything that is in my plate is delicious, then I will continue eating it, right? And so that's my sort of a consolation that I give myself, because honestly, everything that I do with regards to students, with programming, with collaborating here in the university, with community, it's out of love and out of the desire to really be meaningful with what we do and how we reach and how we touch each other and improve each other's life. So it's, I know several of you and I was admiring everything that you were talking about, and the services that you provide and the outreach that you do. I've been part of several programmings, and I've learned how to do DACA screenings, the TIN numbers and everything in order to really prepare myself more in order to serve a population. Now I've been able to help students to renovate their DACA status and saving themselves maybe the fee of lawyers, right? And I'm not a lawyer, but I am helpful in that sense because I have learned to do those things. I am interested in helping the students, but it also I'm interested in the students here in the university to be able to see and reach out and gain skills in activism. I think that many times our students are also very busy and we're not utilizing them in the capacity that it's also very helpful and very eye-opening for them. And I think that working with groups that they may be able to volunteer, they may be able to do a presentation, reaching out, it's going to be good for them and good for the community overall. I would like to continue, right? A monthly meeting and informational meetings and presentations and not just to the extent of us, but also to take them off and be maybe a live event on Facebook or a live event on Instagram in which we are reaching out further, not just in our area and be helpful. But I have a lot to learn. I mean, honestly, I feel like when I was listening to many of you talk about what you do and all the things that you are involved, I felt like, my goodness gracious, what am I getting myself into? But I also think that if we don't take risk and are courageous, we really are not going to make a lot of change. And I think that Becca has been an amazing role and leader in this organization. And I really want to pay it forward in a way, not to drop the ball and just all the great things that were done, just completely stagnate the momentum. I think that by seeing all of you here, it's just a demonstration of her leadership, that that she knows all of you, and that I look forward to collaborate and know especially all of you and collaborate in ways that are going to be very meaningful for everybody that are refugees, immigrants. I need to learn a lot, but it is an opportunity for me that we are in the state of Illinois at the level of higher education. It's coming a mandate in July, which is the House Bill 3438, which is a liaison for undocumented students. And with that, I'm going to have the opportunity to have trainings at the state level and trainings by several representatives and from the state of Chicago and at the state government, that I feel that all that information is going to be worth having in order for sharing and in order to really have more impact, to collaborate, to help each other, and just really I'm honestly, I told my husband, I said, well, I think I'm going to do it. And I said, and that means that there will be times in which honestly there's not going to be, I'm not going to be home for dinner. But he's supportive, and he knows that that is something that I have considered, and I will not just step in and step up in without knowing what will be the efforts that have to be on my side. I'm already in all of this. I'm already a part of all of this. And I think that I was just Karla's, I was looking at Karla, she's gone, but I was looking at all the things that she has with regards to her coalition of farm workers, and how much we can do with that also. I mean, one thing is the health and education aspect, but how much empowerment we could also reach out to put in contact students and see that perhaps the students have gone in the same struggles, but then they're on this other side, and how much with also the other Karla for Shawnee, how can we help and empower these populations to really have more education and collaboration, and so I'm extremely happy, I'm extremely excited, and also scared. So I'm gonna need your support, and also to call me out. To call me out. I know there's, I'm going to have a plan that I am working on, and I really hope to present it, and Becca to give me all the information so that I can present and meetings and just to bring us together. Like I said, there are things that I would like to do. And one of the things we talked about before that I really do want to bring to fruition is a podcast, podcast in Spanish. And this was Becca's idea that she threw the idea, and I have my finger on the line with regards to that, and how we can reach out to people in Spanish, and to be available to different means to really continue bringing hope and sense of belonging and acceptance, and helping our people move forward in this Southern Illinois area.
Thank you so much, Cristina. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and for taking that step to continue us going. And we hope that we can see all of you there along the way, and look forward to continuing to get to work with all these great organizations that shared tonight. I'll put it in the chat one more time, just in case anyone didn't get to see it. We do have a little quick and easy spreadsheet of, kind of the contact information of the organizations that shared tonight, just in case you want to get in touch. And if anyone has any information to correct, or that they want to add to that list, just let me know, and I'll be happy to add on to it. So with that, I know everyone has busy evenings, so thank you so much for being with us tonight. We really, really appreciate all of you. If anyone has any questions, we can stick around for a few minutes. Otherwise, we wish you a great rest of your evening, and have a good night.